Hey guys, Adam here and welcome back to my channel. So happy Thursday. I know some of you who have been subscribers for a while are probably thinking, what the hell, he isn't trained on Thursdays. And under normal circumstances, you would be correct. Usually these are my active recovery days. But the weather has been so terrible the last week, and we're into week 3 now of our lockdown, that I have to come out and practice whenever I get some decent weather. So it's nice-ish today. It's a little cool, but at least the sun is shining, and we'll get some throwing done today and work on some technique and hit that lower body and thrash that core and throw some heavy stuff. So I hope you'll stick around for this video and this practice, and just like leftovers, we can't quit. We got to push on. That's why it's called the grind. All right, so we're going to do a little bit of a warm-up here with some cast and drop drills, and there were lots of folks out today walking their dogs out and about. It was a nice day. For those of you who are new to the ancient Scottish heavy events, the cast and drop drill is a way to teach you how to land that first spin of 2 spins in the weights for distance to help you get those feet down and land in a good power position. So one of my issues with the second spin has been either landing on my heel or landing with my foot facing backwards because I'm not getting my right hip around. So I thought to myself, I wonder if you could do the cast and drop drill with the sprint portion of the second spin. And sure enough, after a few attempts to get the weight to land in the same spot, it made a big difference. So then I put that new cast and drop drill to a test and added it to a single spin throw to see if I can get my right foot to land more squarely. And it worked surprisingly well. Not perfect. It's going to take me several attempts to get it down, but it made a big difference. And my foot actually, was landing at probably 4 o'clock instead of 6 o'clock. So it was much better. So I finished out the practice with some hammer, and it's certainly one of the more dynamic events, one of the events that people are, curious about for sure. And I can't count how many times people have come up to me during practice and said, what are you doing? And, what's the purpose of the boots? And, what's with the hammer? So I was watching this old guy who was back by the fence, and certainly being one of the more dynamic events is also one of the more dangerous. And again, people will walk right through a throwing area and not pay attention to what's going on. So when I walked out to retrieve the hammer, of course he walked over and we had a nice chat. And one of the questions was, what's with the spiky things on the end of the boots? And how heavy is that hammer? And I told him, well, this is our 16-pound hammer. And as soon as you say 16 pounds, of course, most people say, oh, that's not too heavy. Let me pick that up. So, of course, when he picked it up, he said, yeah, that's heavy. And I said, yes, and we have one hammer that's also heavier. That's 22 pounds. So he laughed, and that's the thing about, spectators, that most people don't really understand how heavy this stuff is. But it's great. I always love talking to people, and I've gotten more life stories during my practices than, I can count. And that's why I'm always looking behind me before we throw, because you just never know who's going to walk through the center of the throwing field. So you can imagine at a full Highland Games where there's so much to do, so much to see, and people are trying to take in everything that they can. And even though the throwing areas are well marked off, people can still get off track and end up in a dangerous situation. This is my last rep of the day for hammer and the practice, and I always try to finish my practices off, if possible, with a last one best one. So I'm visualizing the throw here in my head, and I'll do the same thing in the gym. I'll visualize lifts before I do it, and happily, this one was the farthest.
Well, I got to say that was a very interesting and productive workout. And I say workout instead of just practice because that was probably the first time in a long time that I felt my core engaged in the weights for distance. Normally my lower body's trashed, but I don't feel much in my core or my lower back muscles themselves. But this time, getting that right hip around and landing that foot square really, uh, you know, changed things for me. And that's been my career, both lifting and throwing. I've changed things up. I've tried new things, and I've kept what works and chucked what didn't. But that's what you got to do, man. If you don't change and adapt, then you're going to die. I mean, that's basic biology. And of course, you're not going to literally die from this, but your motivation, your drive can certainly die. And if you don't make progress, if you don't see those small changes, then you might just say fuck it and give up, right? And I've been there lots of times. I've had lots of bad practices that have gotten in my head, and I'm thinking, why the hell am I still doing this? But it's days like today that reinforce that I can still I can still figure this out, right? So it's the journey, and I'm going to keep going for as long as my body will allow me. So if you liked this video, give me a like, some comments, some feedback. Please subscribe to this channel. That way you'll be up to date on what's happening, all the new stuff. And of course, I'm going to be throwing for a while because this lockdown seems to have no end in sight. But anyway, if I keep making small progress in throwing, then that's all the better. So with that, thanks for watching, and stay tuned for episode 48 of The Ways.